Joel, so Jamie can see.
Because I need to.
Okay. And good afternoon, Finance and Coffee, and welcome to this week's edition of the Friday Wrap. I've got a very special guest with me today. I've got Jamie McPhee from ME Bank. He's the CEO of ME Bank, so thank you so much for joining me today.
It's my pleasure, Dien.
Now, basically, this is the second week now post the announcements of the recommendation for the Royal Commission.
Yeah.
Now, I within our community of Finance and Coffee, there's been an explosion of activity. So we average around about 38,000 interactions a month.
Yeah.
We are now sitting on about 75,000. Wow. So yeah, the community is very concerned. The community is asking for questions, wants answers, or a bit of a reassurance. So basically, thank you for taking your time out. I just want to see, if you can say something to the community. I've seen a few social media posts that you guys support the brokers. So yeah.
Oh well, no, sure, Dan, and obviously that ME Bank is a really big supporter of the channel and of the whole broker community, and I think to some degree, from our perspective, the recommendations of the Royal Commission are quite perverse in relation to what we're talking about is we want a competitive banking environment. Why do we want a competitive banking environment? Because we actually want the best outcome for the consumer. And I think one of the key components of creating a competitive banking environment, of course, is the broker community. So we're very strongly out there, both publicly and privately, advocating to make sure that whatever regulation is applied, is that it creates sustainability, for the broker channel. We're doing a lot of things. Even one of our directors, Greg Combe, had an interview with ABC earlier this week. It was on Tuesday, and he got out there and also talked about the importance of competition, the importance that the broker channel plays that competition. So that's coming right from the board level.
Yeah, and that's pretty interesting as well, because one of the inside the recommendation there was the thing about the Netherlands model. Yeah. Sam White from Low Market, one of aggregators in the industry, put up an awesome chart showing competition, how that ended up becoming with Netherlands. So. Yeah. Thank you, Sam. That's a big call out. Thank you, Sam, for that. Now, with regards to that as well, we've got also there was a few posts within the community asking, everyone should potentially not deal with a particular bank or banks because of the way that their stance is officially on the inside the RC and so forth. So, my opinion is I think that's wrong. Because I think that sort of goes to the narrative of the protagonist anyways to why brokers shouldn't be used. So have you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do. I think at the end of the day, the whole strength of the broker channel is actually gets a good outcome and a better outcome for the customer. And so anything that isn't focusing around that, I'm with you, Dien, I don't think is helpful. And we've just got to keep in mind what's the right outcome for the customer. Now, then if you've got a choice that both products are suitable, then you can bring other factors into play. But if we go right back to 1994, right, the whole advent of sort of really when the mortgage market got disaggregated with securitisation and broker, we have seen margins since then halve. And so I just keep coming back to the point that it's about increasing competition, and competition ultimately gives the better outcome for the customer. So if we keep in mind that everything that we do is in the customer's best interest, then we have got a really good case to argue.
Yeah, and your market in terms of brokers, I think it's around about 70%.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so that's fantastic. And then on terms of that, your direct market, that's really to cater for the industries that are part of the super fund or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so brokers pretty much core business for you guys. Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Now, actually, I'm a little bit lost for words now. Sorry, sorry about this. Last couple of conversations I've had technical difficulties. Now I'm having a brain fart. So, now with regards to obviously a few conversations on the community surrounds the fact that we should be, getting together and voting for a particular party. Because of the way that they are. Because of the way they've said that they supported the broker.
Sure.
Do you have any thoughts on that as well?
Oh, look, I do. I don't think this, for me, it's not a political debate. It's a customer debate. So I don't think about this in a partisan sense. I mean, I think every person's got the right to vote for whatever party, obviously, that they feel. But I won't be going out and talk about this in a partisan sense. We will simply be coming back to the point that it is the best interest of the customer that the broker channel remains viable, irrespective of which party gets into politics, right? Irrespective of which party gets into politics. And I don't want the success or otherwise depend on which party gets elected. I want the success to be because this is actually the best thing for the customer. And we've got so much data. And I just gave you one data point, which was what's happened to margins since 1994. I know brokers existed before then, but that's really the advent of sort of the mortgage broker market. We know that now about around 60% of customers are choosing to use the broker channel. We know that 96% of customers rate they're satisfied or highly satisfied with the use of the channel. That's compared to 67% that rate the same through going into a branch network or proprietary channels. So there's so much data that says this is in the best interest of the customer. You mentioned the Dutch model. A lot of people have talked about the Dutch model. It's all about channel neutrality. We don't have a system here that's broken. Can we make some small adjustments to improve it? Sure, but it's not broken. So why would you bring in a whole new system with the complexity of administrating that system? And then I think you mentioned Sam White's data, but I think it's basically shown that the competition during that period in the Netherlands is almost halved in relation to the number of banks and the like. So all I would say is this isn't about politics, about who you vote for. This isn't about giving a loan to one lender, not the other lender. This is actually about ultimately having the channel be sustainable because it's actually in the best interest of the customer.
And my final question will be basically another thing that sort of, I don't know whether calling it that was missed might be the wrong word as well, but it feels like for me, well, the general public anyway, that when the Royal Commission was going, the conversation between a broker and an introducer was sort of mixed up, and then all of a sudden we find that the broker was the one that is being thrown under a bus. I don't think there was anything with regards to the introducer channel. So anecdotally, I do know that some introducer are being paid just as much as a broker on the other front, no trial at all. So do you have any?
Oh look, I'm with you, Dien. I think it became a very emotional, discussion. There's a lot of emotion in the Royal Commission, and I just bring it back to the fact that the service that a broker provides is a service that is highly regarded by the consumer. That's why they use them. It's very different to that introducer model, which you can go to. That's a high pressured sales type model, and we saw some of the remuneration that people were making, and clearly that wasn't justified. But you think about it. I mean, here at Me, we're paying for a service that the customer values, and we're paying a reasonable return for that service. It's no different if we're doing a loan through a branch network. We're still paying to provide the customer to provide that service. It just happens to be called lease costs. It just happens to be called salary costs, right? It's just you're still paying to deliver that, to the customer. So I think a lot of emotion did get caught up in the Royal Commission, and it would have been good if we could have just turned around and actually get the chance to really put forward the points that you're making about the actual service that the brokers do provide, and the value of those services as seen through the eyes again of the customer.
Yeah, and the customers are choosing. Yeah. So you can see that, right?
I mean, that's the bottom line, isn't it? 60% of customers choosing the channel. 96% of customers say that they'd rather satisfied or very satisfied, and this is some of the things that just get lost. And when you have a Royal Commission around misbehaviour, what gets excluded is all the positive aspects that we're seeing. So look, we're quite frustrated, I suppose, that about where the debate's potentially gone, but all I can say is that we believe there's a good opportunity to get in and resurrect some of the discussion and debate and get it focused back on, ultimately again, what's going to be the right outcome for the customer.
And for me, on that conversation, the segue there is, I think this is one of the biggest PR opportunities for the broker market as well. I mean, we're at 60% in terms of how many people are using us. The general public, outside of the ones which are seeking a home loan, probably haven't heard of the word broker before, but then for the last couple of weeks, right, it's broker. Yeah. So my main concern is, and this is for directly at the audience actually, is that the way that you communicate, the way that you post, will be reflective of the industry as a whole. So please be mindful in how you don't engage with the trolls, obviously. And if anything as well, I would recommend that we continue that conversation about what is in the best interest of our clients, which is a competition. More competition around, clients are better off, rather than bringing the conversation back to, I'm going to lose my job lose my income. Yes, it is secondary, I get that, and it is a thing there, but the general public probably just does not care. I take it back to the issue that happened to the taxi industry with the introduction of Uber. Yeah. When that came out, the taxi drivers were all talking about their income and their super and so forth, or their assets. I don't think it played very well with the general public.
Yeah. No, I think you've given really good advice. I mean, I think, there's the old saying, isn't there, always back the horse called self-interest, because it's trying, right? So, when you look at the political parties and you look at what people vote for, and a lot of people do it, what's going to affect their hip pocket. So I think that's very good advice that you're giving. It's about what's going to ultimately be in the best interest of the customer. And what we do know is that customers are getting good advice through the broker network. I mean, there's so many different lenders and different products. I mean, it's very difficult to someone who's not an expert in the field to navigate through that. So I'd share your view, get out, absolutely talk about what the broker community brings to the market, brings to the consumer, and brings to competition. But I'd definitely put it in that light. I think that's very good advice.
Jamie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, that's my pleasure, mate.
Thank you. And guys, thank you for tuning in. This conversation today probably has better audio than the other days, so I do apologise. We will get it transcribed anyway, and then we will also upload that into our multiple channels as well. So thank you. Please, if you can, relax if you can. Have a beer today. It is Friday. For this coming weekend, hopefully a few of you will also get your text messages, phone calls, emails saying, hey, I bought a house at auction. It is still business as usual, right? Until it has actually been decided. So, and thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.